Hello, lovelies, and welcome to a very belated May Mayhem and June Bloom box set readathon. It's been a crazy month because in May I had allergies from the fires, and in June, just on the 15th, I was diagnosed with the COVID. Yay, summer COVID. So, let's see what I read. So, the first book I read was by Erin Johnson. I got the whole set. I've been hitting the 99-cent sales for the sets. And Pet Psychic Magical Animal Mysteries. I really, really enjoyed this. This is a world, I love the world building in this. This is a world where witches live kind of on the fringes of human society in their own little, like, city-states. And she lives on an island. It's an ocean, a lot of witches there. But there's this thing in the witch culture where the people that are basically animagus, the people who can shift into animals, are looked down upon. They're treated like second-class citizens. And when you really get started reading it, you meet this witch, and she no longer has any magic. You don't know exactly what's happened, but she has the ability to talk to all animals. So she advertises herself as a pet psychic. And she went from this fabulous career being this lawyer and powerful, influential person to now she's just, she is basically like one step up from being homeless. And it's really, there's some really funny scenes in it. And so she works as a pet psychic. And anyway, this she's working there, and she's trying to do a reading for this lady and her cat, this witch and her cat. And the witch's cat is like, tell her to stop dressing me up in clothes. I hate clothes. I don't ever want to wear clothes again. And the witch is like, oh, but he loves all his clothes. And she's like, no, he doesn't. And so she's trying to get, it's almost like a con. She's trying to, she's one of those fake psychics. And so she does this. And anyway, during the middle of a reading, this cop burst in with his very sick dog. His dog has been cursed. And he thought it was a pet. He didn't realize that it was a pet psychic place. He thought it was like a veterinary office. And he rushes in, and so she's like, she feels bad for the dog, and so she's like, okay, fine, I'll take you to my friend who is also a witch and a shifter, and he's a doctor who is this very famous surgeon, and somebody pissed him off, and he turned into his bear in the middle of a party, and he basically ended up socially outcast. His parents abandoned him, his friends abandoned him. He went from being the top of the top like she was, and now they're living in the lowest of the low rent district. I mean, the cockroaches have better lives than they do, and she has conversations with the cockroaches. How you doing? What you find today? He's like, I hate coming to your apartment. You never have anything good. Let's see, where is it? I'm looking. Her friend is Will. Will is her friend. I'm sorry, I read this so long ago. I'm going to have to go back and look through it for some of the names. Will and Heidi run the vet office. Peter is the detective, and his enchanted lice-sniffing dog is Daisy. Now, the reason that this is so important, because Jolene is the main character. The reason it's so important is because Daisy smells lies. And Jolene's entire existence is a lie because she cannot tell anyone. She's basically a human now. She's lost all of her magic. And so, Daisy is you're a shifter and you're just a lying shifter, and this whole thing through the whole series of books is just Daisy and Jolene going back and forth about talking to each other in dog speak, and it's I really enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed the world building. There weren't that many reading through the whole series of books. There weren't that many there weren't plot holes. There weren't just the why is this here thing. Just the entire Pet Detective series was just enchanting. The Pet Psychic. It really was. It really was enchanting, and I just I gave them 5 stars. I enjoyed the reads. I enjoyed the snark back and forth between Daisy and Jolene. Officer Flint is, of course, eventually becomes the love interest, and they just spend the whole series solving crimes together. And in the end, they end up taking down this criminal underground and exposing that all of the bias against shifters was actually created by the previous king, because after the war, well, the population needed someone to hate, so they would support him, and so he had the Animagus witches declared evil. Pet Psychic, Magical Mysteries, I highly recommend. Erin Johnson, lovely, lovely. I am looking forward to reading her other series, Caramels and Spells, but that's going to have to wait till my next readathon. Okay, the next one was the Cowboy Dragon Inn. It was another one that I got for 99 cents. Serena Meadows is the author. It was actually recommended to me by someone that reads my Pagosa Cliff series, because I write cowboys too, and a ranch. And so the book starts, there's the cover. The book starts with these 6 guys just basically gathered for the reading of a will, and you find out that they're kind of their foster dad person, their big brother foster dad person, has passed away and left these 6 young men a ranch to run, but there's a stipulation: they have to get his this old hotel back running and successful too. So they begin working together, and just different things happen. It's the world building. It just became this thing where it was just like the author kept adding things to it, and it was like, okay, so it's a cowboy, they're cowboy romance things, and then it was like, okay, so it's a hotel romance. Oh wait, mafia. Okay, so it's now cowboy hotel mafia romance. Oh, and they're dragon shifters. And to be honest, the cowboy dragons, first of all, why did their horses and cattle tolerate them? And they're dragon shifting. All of the shifters in this, they do magical shifting. So there's no like they just kind of go whoop and they turn into their thing. There's no their bones don't break, you tear up their clothes or anything, they just shift, and when they shift back, they're still dressed. I read, actually, I think I just kind of glazed through. Maybe it was the allergy medicine I was taking for the fires, for the smoke from the Canadian fires, but I just couldn't get into these. They tended to have 3 of the books had female leads that were they kind of started as this damsel in distress, but they really kind of stood up and took care of themselves. I liked the surgeon that had a child by the one dragon cowboy and that didn't know until years later. And the one that was dating had run away from the wolf shifter mafia. I think the very last book in the series was actually the one that I liked most, because the dragon in that one wasn't one of the original 6 dragons. he was brought on, and he had run away from his father, who was head of the Dragon Shifter Mafia, which that all comes back in. And you really don't, there's really not much of a reason for them to be dragon shifters, except that it's kind of cool when they like shift into dragons and fight off other shifters, or have to fly the damsel in distress down the mountain because she hurt her ankle, or when Dad shows up for no reason out of the blue, the very last few chapters of the book, and then he's like, "You're gonna come back and be my heir," and Tim is like, "No, I don't think so," and then they have a big dragon battle. But really, they're just fun. They're just kind of fun, mindless reads. I gave them 3 stars because so many world building holes. And you know, I'm a fantasy writer, I'm a sci-fi writer, so I want all the world building. And there's just, it was really, yeah. It's like when I was reading the Big River Pack omnibus, and I just like had to skim. I just had to start skimming because I was getting annoyed. So yeah. Cowboy Dragon Inn. If you catch it on sale for 99 cents, you know, just download it. It's something to read. Each book has 2 spicy scenes, and you know, okay, good spice-ish. But yeah. Okay, so the 5 Feel-Good Cozies by lovely Emma Bennett, fellow author tuber. Her publishing house put this out as a collection. I was able to get it. And 4 out of the 5 books, 4.5 5 stars. I enjoyed them. They were exactly what I wanted for a cozy. They were lovely. The Perfect Hero. I loved Mr. Darcy in this book. I wanted Mr. Darcy to kill Sebastian, and when you read it, you will understand why her perfect hero should have been Mr. Darcy. But I love the cat. I want the cat to kill the love interest. Yeah. But it was a fun romp. They were wonderful reads. Green Hills of Home was a beautiful story. Starstruck was so much fun about that childhood, finishing school, prep school, high school type romance, and one of them ends up, discovered and dragged off to Hollywood, and like years later, getting a divorce, and the lead character, she's just getting divorced, and she reaches out to him, and she's just like, "Hey, how you doing?" Not even like, she hasn't talked to him in years, but she just is like, "How are you doing?" And so he comes to see her because literally in his whole world, all of these people, she's the only one that was like, "How are you doing?" And they rekindle the romance that they never got to have in high school, and it's just lovely. Falling in Love at the Nightingale Farm. That one was 4.5. Lovely thing. Just someone dealing with her own issues about, she graduated school and she was gonna go to London and be this big financial person, and her life kind of fell apart. And so she's working at a pub, and her mom's friend says, "Hey, her mom says, "Can you help my friend?" And so she starts helping this elderly gentleman running the Nightingale Farm, and his son is just like kind of drawn in and everything, but they're both so stress monstered that they just keep hit or missing. And it's a lovely read. The one that got away, I didn't like the lead characters. It reminded me too much of the really old way back when 1970s Harlequin romances, where the female lead is like, "Oh, okay, I'll do what you want," and barely stands up for herself, and the male lead is just this very domineering thing, and then he stops when he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings," and I didn't enjoy that one, but I all of the rest, if you like a hot Italian or Spanish, he's Spanish, Catalan, actually. And if you like that strong Spanish lead, yeah, The One That Got Away might be something for you. I just didn't find the character type appealing. But yeah, but all of the others, oh my goodness, I love this series. If you can get this series, read the series. It's so cute. All of them, and they're just so feel good. And at the end of them, you're happy at the end of them. You are happy at the end of them. So, 5 Feel Good Cozy Romances by Emma Bennett. Definitely pick it up. Definitely pick it up. If you are having a bad day, if you are having some sadness, if you're just feeling gray, these are the books you need to read to kind of pick yourself up and make yourself feel better. All right, Heretic of the Federation by Michael Anderle. I got this again. It was one of my 99-cent deals. That's what I've been swooping down on because I have a very limited ebook budget. And so I got this, and it's actually the end of the series. I did not know there are 2 entire 8-book series before this one. But this, you can actually start here and be okay, because this is 27 years after the end of the last series. So this is like a new series. And what has happened is it's a very YA dystopia type book. John, who is the heretic, he's a young man who has discovered that he has access to basically universal magic. In the Federation of Earth and the Allied Planets, Earth is kind of backed away from that, and they've become what is called the regime. There is new leadership. They are running everything, and it is a very bad place to be if you are a young talent. Talents are people who can manipulate energy, and they call the energy E-mu, small e, capital M, capital U, as in Earth Magic Universal. And so if you can manipulate E-mu, the regime grabs you up, and they basically force you into slavery. So anyone who is a magic wielder is forced into slavery. And what you find out is that 3 decades earlier, this woman whose name was Stephanie, who is called the Witch of the Federation, and that's the first series, she saved our world. She saved Earth several times in a row from alien invasions, from an asteroid attack, all of these things, but she's disappeared. You know, as the regime was taking over, they basically kicked her and all of the other aliens, all of the talent users off world. All of the mages and witches got kicked off world or enslaved. And so John is trying to stop his friends because more than one of their friends, they basically, if the regime finds out that you have any talent at all, they just come and take you. They have this propaganda thing that really reminds me of Nazi fascism, Nazism and the fascism regimes about turn in your neighbor, like communism or the Red Scare communism. If you think a child is a wielder or your neighbor's a talent, turn them in. They can't be trusted. They're consorting with aliens. Aliens manipulated their DNA. It's all of this thing. The world building in this is amazing. I absolutely was just so in love with it. And even though I started at the end series, I still got a complete picture of the world build, and I just loved it. So John starts on this journey to try to keep himself alive after his first love, his high school, primary school. He's an Australian, and so I'm not sure what high school is called there. But his first love, she went on a choir trip with her group. The regime snatched her and killed all of the other girls. They just vanished. And that's what they do. If you try to protect a talent from the regime kills you. If you try to stop them from taking the regime from taking someone with talent, they just kill you. There is no tolerance. There is nothing. All talents are required to wear collars with explosive charges and are dealt with by handlers unless they are considered prime talents, in which those are the ones that are turned into hunters. They are sent to hunt other talents. And here's the thing with them. They don't care how many humans they kill to capture a talent. They will capture you or kill you. There is no in between. There is no bargaining. And they don't care about collateral. They will kill. There was one scene where nearly 100 humans were killed because John and Stephanie's best friend, Becca, who is still on Earth, was speaking to them about the truth about the heretic of the Federation. That she was really the witch and she was their protector. One of the other things you can see is like just how worn down the people of Earth are, how scared they are, how terrified they are, how terrible the last 3 decades have been. Because you don't know who you can trust, and even those you can trust, you don't know if they're going to turn you into the regime because they're trying to protect someone else. And so, yeah. I invested in all of the characters, and even when Stephanie and her crew comes back, when they're found after being lost in space for almost 3 decades and they come back, getting to know these characters and the way he wove in meeting these characters through virtual reality and the IAs, it made it much easier to relate to them when they popped up later. And there's this whole secondary storyline about the AIs that Stephanie left behind and their sentience and the things they can do that is so fascinating. It is amazing, the world building in this. There's a scene where one of the AI controlled ships, she's a dreadnought, Tempestari, and she's just fucking with these guys. Excuse the language, but that's what she's doing. She is using this thing to just pop in. She's basically, they call it skipping, and it's where you basically translocate. And she pops in behind this one battleship and she whispers through their comms, "Look behind you." And it's just I'm oh my goodness. And the sibling rivalry, one of the things that I also really liked with the AIs is the sibling nature of the AIs, and the uncle and the father AI, and then there's an uncle that's basically a clone of his program that has been separate. Oh, whoops. No, come on, turn back on. One of the things that I really like is that he starts showing the regime and the cracks in the regime, and the twist at the end about the truth of the regime is just mwah, chef's kiss. That little twist at the end about the truth about the Chancellor that you figure out, I think you figure it out in 3. As you start figuring it out in 3 or 4 is when you're like, wait a minute, and then for it to all come down in Angel of Armageddon. That was just really good. But I like that you see that there are captains in the regime navy that are they kind of overlook that some of their people treat the talents like they're humans. The last book, Angel of Armageddon, I got left with so many questions and so many side characters, and there were some things going on that I understand the last 2 books were written during the pandy and put out then, and so I can understand why that he didn't have the access to extra beta readers and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna I understand how that happened. But I think the last book could be a little bit better. Just there were so many unanswered things at the end, and it felt rushed. It felt rushed and it felt like stuff were left out, or maybe it was cut out because of the length. I don't know, but yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed, say, the Dragon Riders of Pern, or the Brain Ships. I enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed Anne McCaffrey. I just got the first one, Witch of the Federation, which is the first 8 books, and I'm going to be reading that for the rest. So the rest of June Bloom, I've got a few days left. So that is the end of the June Bloom readathon of the books that I went through for May Mayhem and June Bloom, and there were some really good ones, and there were some really what did I read ones. But that's the point when you do these readathons, where you do a box set. You find 99-cent box sets and you buy them and you read them. It's like going to the bookstore and just buying that brown bag of books, and they're like $5 and you get a brown paper bag of books. And so it was really fun. Thank you for watching. Be blessed. Have a lovely day and enjoy your reading.